DSK Group has various business interest in India, which includes real estate, entertainment, and automobiles. Their first encounter with the automobile industry happened in 2000 when they launched the dealership for Toyota. Now, in the past few years, they have accelerated their association with the automotive industry. They tied up with the Korean two-wheeler manufacturer Hosung, and now they are bringing products from Italian two-wheeler manufacturer Benelli. Here we have with us Mr. Ray, CEO of the company, to discuss what are their program and plans for India in this space. Welcome to ETAuto.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure.
You have recently launched a product under Bentley brand. What is this arrangement? Are you going to manufacture completely, or it is going to be CKD, and what kind of investment it is?
Okay, let me make a small correction before I start off. We haven't yet launched Benelli. What we did was the announcement of DSK tying up with Italian legend known as Benelli. Now let me give my viewers a little bit about Benelli. Benelli happens to be the oldest motorcycling or superbiking brand from Italy. It started in the year 1911. So it's one of the few brands, maybe two brands, which have seen both the world wars. I mean, today when we as Indian auto manufacturers are struggling to make a twin-cylinder engine, Benelli made six-cylinder engines in the year 1956, in the 1950s. So that's the pedigree of Benelli. And we are honored that we are bringing this legend into India. We are soon going to launch it next month. If everything goes right, we're going to launch Benelli the next month. I'm going to open 8 showrooms. 8 big metros are going to have Benelli showrooms, and we are going to launch 5 new bikes.
What will be the range of bikes that you are looking at? Again, because it has from around 250 cc going up to 1100 cc, if I'm not wrong.
I mean, for an Italian company, this would be the biggest and the most diversified range of bikes. We have a model in 300 cc. We have 2 models in 600 cc's. One is a Sportster, another adventurer. You have the 899 and you have the 1130. Now, none of a European manufacturer has got this huge varieties of bikes.
So once you launch your products next month, so are they going to be CKD initially, and how many of models are going to be there in India? And which are the city we can buy from?
Yeah. We are going to launch with 5 models, as I told you. All of them come through the CKD route, which is known as completely knocked down route. We have a plant which is at Y, which is 100 kilometers from Pune. So all these bikes are going to be assembled in this facility and are going to be dispatched to various showrooms. We are in fact going to launch Benelli from Delhi, Bombay, Pune, Kolkata, Bangalore, Chennai, Chandigarh and Ahmedabad. Because this 8 cities essentially happen to contribute around 75% of total superbiking sales. So all these showrooms are going to have a DSK Benelli showroom come January 2015.
So you already operating in the same category with Hosung, Korean bike manufacturer. So don't you think there will be a business overlap between the two, or how are you going to differentiate the two?
Let me give you an analogy. It's like comparing a sedan to a hatchback. Now, sedan has a particular kind of clientele. Sedan caters to a particular kind of people. Hatchback has its own advantages. So though the cc might seem to be the same, 250 cc to 600 cc, but these two kind of bikes are like chalk and cheese. For example, to give you a small difference, Yosong is good at V-twin engines. That is their forte. Benelli is good in inline cylinders. So Benelli's 300cc is inline 2, while Hyosung's 250cc is a V-twin cylinder. Hyosung is a fully faired bike, while Benelli's are mostly naked or semi-naked bikes. So for a buyer, for a typical superbiking customer, these two bikes are of exceptionally 2 different genres.
So, like you in Hosung, you have recently announced that you will go down to lower cc of bikes. Do you have any plan to bring Benelli and do some product which are specifically good for Indian markets?
Yes, we do have, and these are very serious plans. But at this stage, it would not be right to comment on when and how it happens. But we definitely have. But having said that, I'll also let you know for the first time on this channel that in the next year we are going to launch another two numbers of 250 cc's. So we're going to see a 250cc cruiser and a 250cc sports bike being added to the already 5 bikes which we will launch this January.
So that will be locally produced or
No,
what?
that would also come through the CKD route. But going forward, we have concrete plans of manufacturing them in India.
You are already doing Hosung here in India. You are selling that bike. What was your sales like there so far this year?
Last year, we did around 1800 plus numbers. This year, if everything goes right, we'll be crossing the 3000 sales mark.
Okay, early in the year, you said you will be selling 2400. So how this incremental sales?
I mean, in the month of September, October, we are 160% growth vis-a-vis last year. Sales has been very, very good. I mean, since these are imported bikes, what we are losing out is that because the season was so good for us that we have some sort of supply of product in the month of November. But we are pretty sure that we are going to cross the 3000 sales mark at the end of March 2015.
So how are you working on your dealer development? Because you are a new brand. Is it very tough to find dealers? Because you see the real estate cost, the manpower cost is going high in the automobile retailing sector. So is it difficult for you being a new player in the country?
I'll tell you a nice story. When we along with Harley were one of the new brands which came into superbiking. When I say new brands in the sense, those guys who are only going to sell superbikes from their dealerships. So way back in 2010, when we went seeking for dealerships, there were not too many dealers who were like thinking they could sell a 3 lakh rupee motorcycle, 6 lakhs rupee motorcycle. 4-5 years down the line, with so many brands having coming in, Hyosung having made it a success, so do other brands having made them a success. There's a lot of dealers, auto dealers as well as non-auto dealers, who understand the potential of superbike market in this country. So they are queuing up to take dealerships. Today I may not name them, but you have who and who of car dealerships across cities, big car dealerships, big brands who are queuing up to take a DSK Benelli dealerships. That's the difference which all the superbiking brands have made in the last 4 years.
So which are the market where you have greater popularity for using and you look at Benelli, similar type of market appeal for this?
Yeah. See, as I told you, the 4-5 big markets happen to be Delhi, Bombay, Pune, Bangalore and Chennai. Because of the very fact of the nature that you have the high net worth individuals living out of the city and who understand superbikes. So most of the sales comes from these 5 cities. Plus you can add up Chandigarh, Ahmedabad and the Kolkata. So for every manufacturer of superbikes, these are the top 8 cities.
And what about the cruiser versus sports bike? Which bike gets better deal here in India?
It's obviously the Sportsters, because in India people tend to show off a little bit. Plus they want speed, they want the power, which is generally given by a sports bike. So if you see, the sports bike market for us is a little larger, little bigger than the cruiser market.
It's very important to stay, competitive in terms of price, and for that you need to, increase your localization of your product. How are you looking at? How are you planning in this area?
No, we are not planning. We have already started doing it. If you see,
what is your current level of localization?
We are at least 15 to 20% of localization, which
that
is
already very less.
No, but please do understand that there are not too many suppliers for superbiking parts in India. For example, you won't find many. To give a risk maker, till 250, 300cc, you have Indian manufacturers of tires whose product you can fit onto a motorcycle. But beyond that, you don't have manufacturers who can provide you tires. So India is growing. It's not so easy to find uncompromised quality for these superbikes. So as and when the suppliers for this high-end components of superbikes come in, we'll definitely start. But
what's your projection going forward?
Let me give you this. It's not that we have not started it. We have started doing it. So if you see the prices which were announced when Hyosung was launched way back in 2011, the prices more or less remain the same, and a few of the products, the prices have been marginally reduced. And given the fact that the dollar has jumped from 47 rupees to 62 rupees level, so if there was no localization happening, you would have seen a huge jump in the prices of superbikes.
So going forward, what kind of investment plan you have for Benelli? You will manufacture this as well at the same plant?
No, the assembly happens in the same location. The premises are little different from each other, but it happens in the same premises, so that the overheads, basically we want to give a superbike at a very, very affordable cost, very, very competitive cost.
What will be that cost?
Sorry, you have to wait for
At least in the range.
it has to be, it will be going to be very, very competitive. That's as much as I can promise you right now. You have to wait for another month to find out the prices, but I can commit that it's going to be very, very competitive.
You were planning to sell around 3,000. Now you have another product, another brand altogether, that you will have multiple products now. How do you see yourself in this space? What would be your total volume, for Husung as well as Benelli, or jointly? How do you see
See,
it?
in our first year, we plan to sell around 3,500 numbers of Benelli in our first year of operation. That means 2015. Again, as I told you, both these products, though few of these products may be competing in the same cubic centimeter range or cc range, they are like chalk and cheese. Further, the dealerships for Benelli and Hyosung are to be completely different. So the entire front sales team. So at some point they would be competing with each other, but they have nothing to do with each other. So you walk into a DSK Benelli showroom, you'll never find a DSK Hyosung bike. Vice versa also holds true. You walk into a DSK Hyosung showroom, you won't find a DSK Benelli bike. So DSK Benelli is another completely different set of bikes which is coming into the superbike.
When do you see yourself becoming, profitable? Because at this volume, are you really profitable?
No,
Because,
no.
how long will it
I
take?
mean, automobile as an industry, you don't become profitable in 2-3 years. It takes time. It takes time to break even. Now, this all depends on how our plans go up. Please understand.
So at what unit you think you will be able to
No,
break even?
I'll go a step further. We are talking about manufacturing in India. So this is just the start of the journey where we are bringing security. We are establishing our brand. We are bringing the superbikes. Our approach is top down. So people accept us as a superbiking brand. So tomorrow when we go down to the 150 cc's of the world, we are very much acceptable. Because these are the guys who make 1130cc engine. So they are very good at making 150cc engine. So the investments are going to go up in the next 4-5 years.
So what kind
So,
of investment lineup?
I mean, we are looking at investing around 400 to 500 crores rupees in the next 4 to 5 years.
For both the brands, or
Yes, for both the brands.
for having manufacturing facility
Yes.
as well as marketing, or
Everything, all put together.
400
Yeah,
crore?
but the bulk of it would be obviously to manufacture these bikes in India.
Both the bikes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how do you look at the network, dealer network? How many you have right now for hosting? How do you see it going
In-
forward?
In fact, as I speak to you today, we have the largest network for any standalone superbiking brand. And we inaugurated the Jodhpur dealership yesterday. Today we have 39 dealerships for DSK Hyosung. And in this month, we will be opening 2 new dealerships. So we have the largest network. We plan to open 8 new dealerships for Benelli in the month of Jan. And we plan to do around 20 to 22 dealerships.
Which are the
next year.
models from Benelli that is going to come?
That's
Top.
what I said. There are 5 models. You have the
Can
300.
you name them?
Yes, they are all known as TNT. So the first one is TNT 300cc, TNT 300, which is a 300cc inline 2-cylinder. Then we have the TNT 600i, which is a sportster. It's again it's going to the India's first 4-cylinder inline cylinder for the 600cc. Then we have the TNT 600 GT, again India's first adventure bike in 600cc. Then we have the TNT 899, which is going to be a 900cc inline 3, and then you have the most powerful iconic TNT 1130cc, 1130cc.
Can we expect a mass segment bike from Benelli in India?
It all depends on how you define a mass segment bike, but as
100, 125 cc.
not in the next 2 year span, but beyond that, yes, there is a chance that you could see them. But you are going to see a lot of lower cc range in between 200cc to 500cc in the next 2 years.
When are you launching the Hosung 125cc bike that you have?
Not now. See, again, 125cc is a bike. For that bike to be feasible in India, to be affordable in India, it has to be manufactured in India. You cannot import a 125cc
So
bike.
once this new investment
Comes
on,
through, then the 125cc. But
so that will take how long?
I'm looking at a 2 year horizon for all these things to be in place. We have already started the journey, but for the productions to happen and these bikes to come onto the road, I'm looking at a 2 year period.
DSK was looking at e-cars also, electric cars also. So how is that plant shaping up?
Honestly, I'm not the right person to talk about it. This is not my area, so I will not be able to throw some light on it.
Going forward, how do you see the space growing in India, your luxury bike or super bike market that you see in India?
Fabulous, fabulous. India is the market to be for any brand. You see, 10 years before when you and me are young, how many luxury brand did you see in India? Today you name them, you have it in India. Why? Because this is the market where is that. Europe is stagnating, America is going nowhere. So this is the market you have to. But then you have to understand the Indian market. As they say, there is a lot at the bottom of the pyramid of Indian market. You have to give a kick-ass product, no doubt about that. But again, the pricing has to be correct.
Of this 400 crore that you plan to investment, that will be from DSK Group side. Partners are also going to put in investment
No,
in that?
partners would not be there. It would be a DSK venture altogether.
Okay.
Obviously, banks would also come into the scheme of things.
Okay. And now, do you think there's a great opportunity in the India-like markets like BRIC, ASEAN and all? Do you see exporting these products from India?
Obviously, yes. I mean,
Have
one
you
of the
started
biggest.
or when do you plan to start and which?
No, once we start manufacturing, India would be a definitely hub for export for Hyosung bikes and Benelli bikes, because we Indians are best at frugal engineering. We know how to make a world-class product at a throwaway price. And Indian badge is accepted across the globe. So we have an Indian manufactured bike, the prices are less and the quality is as good as any European or American manufacturer. So India is definitely going to be an export hub for Benelli and Hyosung super bikes.
So Hyosung has already come here. Now its next step going to be exports, and when do we see and which
As
are
soon
the
as we
markets?
start manufacturing them,
So it will take 2 years at
2 years
least.
of time. Once we start manufacturing them, obviously this plant is going to export to a lot of countries.
Thank you so much for talking to you.
Pleasure
It was a
having
pleasure.
you. Thank you so much.
So